think what we're hearing this from optimistic people who look at the Niners, or maybe the Niners themselves, that yeah, it was a down year. Down years happen. Look at all the injuries the Niners have had. Why would you think those injuries would happen again next year? They're probably going to be a lot healthier next year, and they'll be good. Do you think that holds water?
Let me phrase it like this, Iggy. I put a tweet. I don't tweet that much anymore, but I put down a tweet saying, a lot of people are going to blame this on injuries, this bad season, but they weren't that good before a lot of injuries. And people were fans, and it's fair. They're fans. Were so angry at me and you. I get, if they're angry at me, then they're angry at both of us. We both suck. I have people saying, and you call yourself a serious journalist? Well, I'm not anymore, but I was. I mean, I was, California Sports Writer of the Year 1 year. I won the Columnist of the Year in Northern California 8 times. So I was kind of a serious journalist. I only say things that I understand. So let's look at the really what we're saying with the injuries. When people write, Lowell and Grant suck, and they would have had a much better season, but unfortunately they had a lot of injuries. Mm-hmm. Okay. Who are they trying to absolve? They're saying they probably would make the playoffs and Kyle would be a good coach if they didn't have all those injuries. All right. First of all, that's an alternate universe. They had all those injuries. Not my fault, not Grant's fault. They had all those injuries. Before the season started, they had an inkling there were going to be injuries. I have to think, I can't prove it, that they knew something was wrong with McCaffrey. I have to think when Trent Williams didn't do jack in training camp, they thought he was vulnerable, and they gave both of those guys extensions. They couldn't have known what was going to happen with Ayuk.
But again, that's the guy who missed all of training camp. Those three guys missed all of training camp, and those three guys did a bunch of nothing this year.
And got hurt.
Yeah.
It seems to me if you miss all of training camp, it's an interesting thing, Iggy. There's shape for athletes and there's football shape. Yep. It's different and it's more subtle and it's harder to get into. And a lot of it happens in training camp.
Yeah.
Those three guys didn't do it. They weren't football ready. Clearly, McCaffrey wasn't football ready. So you say, oh, we got screwed.
Yeah, because when McCaffrey played, he wasn't good. When Ayuk played, he wasn't good. Those two in particular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So say, next year we'll be great. And Kyle will show what a really good coach he is. Because, it's a one-off. We had all these injuries, but we're going to be really good next season. Well, first of all, how do you know? Yeah. Every team gets injuries. And some of these players are prone now. Mm-hmm. Well, we know poor Elijah Mitchell. He's always prone. McCaffrey, do you think he's going to be the McCaffrey he was when he was this great player? He's already went down twice this season. Twice. What did he play? 4 games, Iggy?
4 games, and he'll be 29 in June. So he'll be 29 all of next year. That's right around when a running back's getting old.
Yeah. And when he played, he wasn't good. And Trent Williams, he's like going to miss half the season. What makes you think next season he may not miss half the season? I'll tell you right now, he's going to miss games. And the other thing is when Ayuk comes back, and who knows when that is, who knows who he'll be? He had serious injuries. It's not guaranteed that he's going to be he was not a great player. He was an excellent player. He'll be the excellent player that he was. So what I'm saying is this thing about injuries being, it's just, it's football, bad luck, it's karma, whatever. I think it's possible the whole thing happens all over again next season.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, like you said, a lot of these guys are older and prone, but I don't think that Kyle Shanahan really protects players as well as he could, and he often adds players who have injury histories. Like Isaac Guerrero, he had a hamstring injury last week. He had hamstring injuries in college. Seems like if you can't get through seasons in college, it's going to be tough in the NFL. Deebo Samuel gets hurt every year. Trent Williams gets hurt every year. And it seems like Kyle, like I said, he sometimes exacerbates the issue where a guy gets hurt, like Trent Williams. You hurt his ankle, you give him the Toradol shot, he plays and hurts it worse, and he's done.
Right.
Nick Bosa hurts one oblique, plays through it, hurts the other, misses a month. Christian McCaffrey comes back, getting 20 touches a game. Greenlaw comes back, playing every snap. Those are things he could control.
And should control and didn't control. So what I'm saying is, fans, you're welcome to be angry at Grant and me and we suck and all of that. But I think this team needs to get younger, stronger, faster for sure, and healthier. And I think if you're hoping that people like McCaffrey and Trent Williams and Ayuk are going to save the team next year, you may be in for a disappointment because they're vulnerable. And the Niners should have known it, and they shouldn't have extended this Trent Williams. They should have told him to go away when he didn't come to training camp. And they should have told Ayuk to go away. They're the 49ers.
Yeah.
You don't go out on your knees and beg players.
Yeah.
Players beg you.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. If the Niners had won those Super Bowls instead of lost them, particularly this last one, do you think they'd be in this situation right now? Do you think they would have been so eager to crawl to these players and beg them to stay? Or do you think they would be more open to starting over and rebuilding and getting a younger team, knowing that the fans would understand and have patience because they got a ring?
Not starting over, replenishing.
Replenishing.
If you won the 2 Super Bowls, it would be seen like Kansas City. They don't start over, but they replenish.
Yes.
I think there's a difference.
Yes.
And I assume the Niners would have been more open to that, but I'm not really that impressed with their ownership. And in addition, they didn't win the 2 Super Bowls.
No, they didn't. I guess I was thinking of the Rams. The Rams did win a Super Bowl. And since then, they've replenished. They have a totally new team, mostly new team with a lot of young players. And they were kind of bad to mediocre for a while, but it seems like everyone understood and had patience because they won a Super Bowl. The Niners have had this like desperation around them for the last few years because they've been so close. They got to get there. And now they're not so close.
No. And again, I assume they're going to bring back Shanahan. I've never really been that impressed with him as a coach, and I'm certainly not impressed this season. Bring him back. But to the best of my way of judging, and you're going to say I'm negative, I don't think he'll do much better next season because of how he coaches, how the league has caught up to him, because his team is old and slow and crotchety. And I think next season would be his last season in Santa Clara.
Can I give you a stat that'll blow your mind?
I like to blow my mind.
Mind blower. Since the bye week, Niners offense scoring 17.8 points per game since the bye week. It's freaking awful.
Is that not good, Iggy?
It's terrible. It's really, really, really bad. And that includes that game against the Bears where they scored 38 points against a team that was dead. So really, it could be. It's been worse.
Yeah, they've gotten worse. We were talking about it the other night. We expected them to beat Miami.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought Miami was the Niners, junior cousin. Miami beat them without much difficulty, Iggy.
No, they never touched Tua.
Never touched them.
No.
Scored 7 points. Scored 7 points in the second half.
7.
Yeah.
And we're always talking about their defense, their run defense, their special teams. What about their offense? That's freaking terrible now.
Yeah.
Whose fault is that?
Well, they have a genius. They have a genius who calls the plays. Everybody says he's the best.
Yeah.
Iggy, I was listening to the announcers on that game. You would have thought that Kyle Shanahan had actually won a Super Bowl, the way they were talking about him. But you see, here's the thing about him. He hasn't.
But Dad, they're going to be healthy next year, and he will.